Good evening. Welcome to the 2019 Pool for Kids Classic. Sheila and I are humbled to be your honorees this evening. For over 25 years, we've been a part of the pool and child advocates, and from day one, I was hooked. I knew the organization and the kids would have a piece of my heart forever.
Child Advocate speaks up for children who've been hurt by the very people who should love them the most. They've been removed from their homes due to abuse and neglect, and they deserve to have someone in their corner.
Unfortunately, with Child Advocate's current resources, we can only provide a voice to half of the children in foster care. We are here tonight to bridge this gap. We can't do it without you.
Tonight, we have the special privilege of sharing the stage with 6 individuals who have each given 20 years of their heart and time as court-appointed advocates. As you listen to their stories, we know you will be moved to support this great cause.
We thank you for joining us this evening.
I was standing in the front seat of a car with only a diaper on. My little sister was in the back seat, same situation, not buckled in. And my infant brother, Matthew, was in a car seat that was not strapped in. And my biological mother was speeding, intoxicated, and drove past a police station.
The children came into care because their mother was finally, thank goodness, stopped for DWI in another state. And when the police officers found them, Matthew was barely 3 weeks old, and he was found in the floorboard of the car, no car seat, no formula, no diapers. Mandy and Brandy were not in any type of child restraints. They were just in the car with no food. The mom, of course, had numerous bottles of alcohol in the car, and she was drunk.
And a police officer did see that, and we were taken away. That was when I think they realized the severity of the issue. We all had sores and blisters and were malnourished. And I believe that is when it all started. My name is Brandy Mathis, and my child advocate was Chastity.
And so thankfully they were taken into custody because apparently this neglect and abuse had been going on before they were finally stopped. They had been investigated several times. The mother had already had 3 children that had been removed from her home and the rights were terminated. She was also living with a man who was deeply addicted to drugs and alcohol and was very abusive. My name is Chastity Horn, and I've been an advocate since 1996.
I have 4 babies that came into care. The first one is Araya. She's 8. She'll soon be 9 in August. The second one is Amaya. She's 7. The third one is Kelvin. He's 5. And the last one is Nakaria. She's 4. They came into care about 4.5 years ago. It was only supposed to be temporary, 6 months to a year. And things did a turnaround about 8 months into it when the parents didn't want to comply with CPS. They were removed from the biological parents basically because drug use, not taking care of the kids, neglect, just not being parents.
We terminated rights, but that was not without difficulty because the oldest child had a different father. So we had 2 cases going on simultaneously, and we had to fight to get the cases put together because it was always the commitment that this family was going to stay together. My name is Mary Kay Dingler, and I have been a child advocate since 1996.
I decided to adopt them after CPS told me they were going to be split up. I originally only had 1, which is the baby girl, and I got her 8 months old, Nakaria. And then they took the other 3 and split them up in foster care. And Miss Mary Kay told me the only way I can keep them together was to become a foster parent. And I didn't want to see the kids split up and not grow up knowing each other. So me and Miss Mary Kay talked, and she was like, if you're gonna do this, I'm here with you. I decided to become a foster parent. It was a struggle. And after I became a foster parent, we fostered for about 1.5 years and finally adopted last year of August. Mary Kay kept them together. She kept all 4 babies together. Yeah. If it weren't for her, they would have been split up.
My very first case, I worked with a family that were foster parents, and they were intent on finding an adoptive family for their child. And they knew of this family they'd worked with on a previous case, and they thought the two foster kids from both cases would be great siblings. Eventually, we got it to happen, and the family, the Villarreals, adopted the little boy on my first case. A few years later, I had these two kids on another case, and they reminded me of the Villarreals, just the way they looked and some of their history, and I just thought that would be a great family. And so I called Della and Luciano. It was kind of tricky. I said, I know y'all have two kids already, and I'm sure your house is complete, but you might know somebody who would be interested in these two kids, and I just want to call you because you work in education and you're around people that love kids, and maybe you'll know of somebody. Well, lo and behold, a few days later she called and said, I've been crying and sleepless, and we want to talk to these kids. We think these kids need to fit in our family. Now, this family who had no children have 4 children. I think I made a difference in the lives of those kids as well as those parents. I'm Zach Copeland, and I've been a court-appointed advocate since 1999.
When I first met the children that I'm talking about in this case, the oldest was about 1 year old. His brother was still an infant. He had been in the hospital for several months. And again, I always say that he was so small, he would fit in the palm of my hands. The father had a very different lifestyle that he led. The mother's right had already been terminated because the father's life was filled with drug interaction. When I visited sometimes and he had custody of the kids, their home was dirty. Sometimes I'd show up with my kids there with nothing on but just a diaper, and it was very clear that they'd been outside just playing, and the diapers were dirty, clothes were dirty, the home was dirty. They didn't go to daycare. Sometimes the father didn't work, he didn't have work for various reasons. And these were scheduled visits. They weren't unannounced, so they knew I was coming, but nothing was, made to, at least look nice and decent for the kids. Sometimes there wasn't a lot of food in the house. If it was a lot of junk and things like that. He just really didn't seem that he could get it together. My name is Wanda Williams, and I've been a child advocate since 1999.
I have no doubt that their dad loves them, but he wasn't able to provide a safe environment for them, and Wanda was the only one at that time that says, hey, there's something going on, I don't like this doesn't feel right.
When they went home, we thought that was going to be a good thing for them, and when we got the call that they were coming back into care, we said, this is it, they're not leaving.
And they ended up being our forever.
It's important to give back the resources and time and any kind of a commitment that you can give to child advocates, because it's going to improve our society. And at any one time, there are about more than 4,000 children in foster care in Harris County alone. That's not even the state, for heaven's sakes. What about all those other children that are in the system that don't have anybody that knows precisely what's happened to them? The parents or the perpetrators or whatever are still out there, still leading their lives. And these kids are so vulnerable to adults, and so it's important that they have an adult who's going to show up regularly, who's going to hug them, who's going to listen to them. My name is Linda Murphy. I was sworn in as a child advocate in 1995.
Every day in the media, you hear stories of abuse by teachers, celebrities, priests. I mean, it's a constant thing, more than ever before. And those are just the kids we know about. There's so many kids that we don't know about. My name is Ellie Sweeney, and I have been an advocate since 1998. Every time I meet the children, I just want to take them home with me because I know I can make their life better. But I know I can't take all the children home with me. But I know that I can maybe make sure that they do find that forever home, whether that is going back to their parents and making their parents a better parent for them, or whether it's finding that person. And I just think the need is so great that how can I not do it? I just feel I have gotten so much back from the children. A
lot of love. They're very resilient.
You have to stop the cycle of child abuse. It just has to stop.
You can make time to change a child's life. It not only changes the life of a child, but it will change your life and make you feel better about what you're doing on this earth.
I am a member now of a family that numbers about 900 people through Child Advocates, and I value that association more than I can tell you.
If I can teach my children to give back to the community, then I have done a good job as a parent. It's amazing that I'm able to do this. I'm so emotional.
If Child Advocates had not been appointed to that case, I am absolutely certain that these 3 children would not be where they are today. I don't know if they would be alive today.
My life today is exactly how I want it to be. I'm only human, so I have my problems, I have issues, but I do feel like I learned through chastity how to overcome anything. So without her, I wouldn't be where I am. And I just mean mentally, I feel like I can accomplish anything.